welcome back to the video tutorial series of the mobile computing and wireless communication. I am your instructor Varsha Tak. Let's start our lecture series. Okay, so today we are starting the new unit, that is unit number 2. Till last lecture we have covered all the topics of the unit 1. So let's start the unit number 1. So topics to be covered in this lecture, that is cellular network, principle of cellular network, radiation pattern and cell geometry. So these are the topic that we are going to cover in this lecture. Okay, we first will cover the concept about the cellular network. This concept we will study in detail where it is used in the next upcoming chapter. Okay, so let's start with the cellular network. Okay, so what is cellular network? Cellular network is an underlying technology for mobile phones, personal communication systems, wireless networking, etc. The technology is developed for the mobile radio telephone to replace the high power transmitter receiver system. Okay, so cellular network use the lower power, shorter range and more transmitters for the data transmission. So how we can define the cellular network? If you remember, I have given the example of the throwing the ball to the 500-meter distance. Are you able to throw the ball to the 500-meter distance? No, we are not able to throw the ball at the 500-meter distance. So for that, what you want? You want the person at the different places at the same distance. Okay, for example, at 10-meter distance or at 20-meter distance, you throw the ball to the particular person, and that person will catch that ball and will throw further to another person. Okay, so what is this? We have divided that area in small part. So exactly same in the cellular network. In cellular network, entire area is divided in some parts. So in each and every part there is one antenna that will take care of that particular cell. Okay, so like this way we can reach up to large kilometers, up to large distance. Okay, so this is the concept of the cellular network. Okay, so here you can see there is one tower that is situated, one antenna that is situated in one particular area, and that particular area will take care of all the mobile devices which is used in that particular area. Okay, so like this way, one antenna is responsible for providing the services to the surrounded area, and in each and every area there is one antenna. Okay, so here let's start with the principle of cellular network. Okay, we are studying about the cellular network, so we should have to learn what is the principle on which concept cellular network is working. Okay, so here you can see from this figure, you can see there are numbers of cell is there. Okay, so these numbers of cell have one antenna that is placed in between them. Okay, so this entire area is divided in different cells. Here you can see the 3 and 2. So that means total 8 cell area is there. In each and every 8 cell area, there is one antenna. Okay, so this antenna will take care of this particular area. This antenna will take care of this particular area. Same way, this antenna will take care of this particular area. Okay, and this is known as base station, as you can see in figure, and this entire hexagonal shape is known as the cell. Okay, so let's have a look at this descriptions. A cellular network divides any given area into cells. So as I told you that entire area is divided in cell, where a mobile unit in each cell communicates with the base station. Okay, so the main aim of the cellular network design is to be able to increase the capacity of the chip. Okay, how to increase the capacity of the channel? To provide services to more and more customers and to provide the services at very large distance. Okay, for example, to handle as many as calls as possible in a given bandwidth with a sufficient level of the quality of the service. Okay, so this is the basic concept of the cellular network. Okay, now cellular network, we are talking about the antenna. Okay, so how antenna will uh, radiate that signal. Okay, so here this topic is about the antenna radiation pattern. Here you can see this is an antenna and this is what a radiation pattern. Okay, so how the antenna actually this we can define this as a radiations range. Okay, so here in between this cell, that's hexagonal cell, that is one antenna. So here we can see that is a sender. Okay, so this dark gray color range is what? A transmission range. Then outer side range is known as the detection range. And last outer side range is known as the interference range. And this distance from that particular dot to here, so that is what a distance can be traveled with that particular signal from antenna. Okay, so these are the three different types of range. Whenever the signals will be radiated from the any antenna, that will pass through this radiations range. Okay, first is what? Transmission, then next is a detection, and then next is what? Interference. Now let's have a look at it one by one. Okay, so first of all, transmission range. Okay, so here you can see that description is given here. Transmission range, that is what? Within a certain radius of the sender, transmission is possible. Okay, you have the capability to throw the ball at up to suppose 10-meter distance. So the base stations also have the capability to radiate the signal at particular distance only. So that range is known as the transmission range. For example, a receiver receives the signal with an error rate low enough to be able to communicate and can also act as the sender. Now next range is what? Detection range. Within a second radius, detection of the transmission is possible. So in that particular radius, you can detect the signal. For example, the transmitted power is large enough to differ from background noise. Okay. However, the error rate is too high to establish the communications. Okay, so here if in this particular range the signals is going to be traveled, we can distinguish the noise signal and the original signal. Okay, so these are the two basic range. Now let's have a look at the third range of the radiation pattern. So we have the interference range. Okay, so within the third even larger radius, the sender may interfere with other transmission by adding to the background noise. So whenever a signal is going to be traveled in this particular radiation, this particular range, that is the outer side range, here the noise is more. The complexity of noise is more here in the signal, in this radius. Okay, a receiver will not be able to detect the signal. Okay, but the signal may disturb other signals. Okay, so this is what interference range. Okay, for example, I am giving you one example that suppose one person is playing the song with very high intensity, with very high volume. Okay, so if you are near, exactly near to that particular person who is playing the song, if you are talking to your friend, then it is not possible, because you are not able to hear the voice of your friend also. Okay, so that is what your interference range. You are not able to even hear his or her voice. But if you are moving uh, moving far away with short distance, then you are able to receive the signals of your friends. And if you are moving very far away from that particular person who is playing the song, you are able to hear your friend's voice. Both of you are moving far away. Then it is easily possible, and you can easily detect that particular noise signal, voice signals. Okay, so like this way, this radiations pattern will work. Okay. Now next topic is cell geometry in cellular system. Okay, so in cellular topology, we need to consider the qualitative means to characterize the interference. Okay, so for the cell of the some shapes to form the tessellation so that there is no ambiguous area that belongs to the multiple cells or no cells. Okay, so the cell shapes can be like this, which is equilateral triangle, equilateral square and equilateral regular hexagon. So which cell we are going to consider for this cell geometry? Why we are considering just a hexagonal cell? So let's have a look at this. So here first cell geometry, that is equilateral square. So here you can see if you are going to divide the area in a square shape, so the radiation pattern will be like this in each and every square area. Here at the bottom side I have defined one base station. Assume that the base station is in between each and every square cell. So this blue color is what the radiation pattern of that particular antenna. But what will happen? The antenna will able to radiate to this blue color shape only. So here the portion which is not covered by the radiation pattern, which is not covered by this base station. So what will happen when the person is there in that particular area? So we are not able to reach at that particular area. So we are not considering equilateral square in cell geometry. Now next is equilateral triangle. Okay. So again you can see the same thing that I have told you in the square. Same thing, that suppose you are going to divide your entire area in a triangle shape. And here at the downside I have defined one base station. Assume that the base station in between in the middle of the each and every triangular area. So when this base station is going to radiate the signal, you can see this green color radiation pattern is generated by. So here this all the green color radiation pattern is overlapped. So maybe the signal interference is there. And again you can see this is a blank area where signals cannot be reached. So again the same problems that we are facing in the square, same problems we are facing in the triangular shape. So we are not considering this cell geometry as a triangle in our cellular network. So now let's have a look at this cell geometry, that is equilateral regular hexagon. So this we are considering in our cell geometry. This shape is universally accepted to define the cellular geometry, to define the cellular network. So here you can see there is a your entire area is divided in a hexagonal cell, and in between each and every hexagonal cell there is one antenna, and antenna is going to radiate the signals, and they can reach up to the edges of the hexagonal cell. Okay, so like this way we can cover the entire area in the hexagonal cell, and no any overlapping is there. So we can reach up to the ends, up to the edges, and we can detect the signals from the edges also. So we are considering this hexagonal cell in a cell geometry. Okay, now which are the advantage of using the hexagonal? So here you can see it allows easy and manageable analysis. In a circular, adjacent circles can have gaps in between or can create the overlapping, but hexagonal closely approximate Okay, as you have seen in the figure. So that is closely approximate the circular radiation pattern in an omnidirectional base station antenna. What is this omnidirectional? Omnidirectional, that means the antenna that is going to radiate the signal in all the directions. So that is known as omnidirectional. Okay. The next is what? In hexagon geometry, less number of cells can cover the entire market. Okay, so we required the less number of cell compared to circle, square and triangular. So like this way, because of this advantages, we are using the cell geometry as a hexagonal shape. Okay, so summary of this lecture, we have covered the cellular network, the concept of the cellular network, then what is the principle of the cellular network, then we have covered about the radiation pattern, range, that is a transmission range, detection range and the interference range. And we have covered the cell geometry. We have seen the triangular, circular, we have seen the triangular, square and hexagonal. Okay, and why we are using the hexagonal cell geometry in cellular network. Okay, so this is all about this lecture. Remaining topic we will cover in the next lecture. Thank you for watching. We will meet in the next lecture with a new topic. Thank you.